Hi, guys. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. It started off a little rough here this morning. We had a leak. Had to replace my kitchen taps again. It's like, what, the second time in a month? Anyway, so yeah. Well, I now have a brand new tap back in place, and all the water is cleaned up, so everything is good. I've been looking forward to painting today. I don't often do anything for Easter. It's usually, just something with flowers or a basket, nothing too strenuous. But for whatever reason, I've just got it in my head that we needed a floppy bunny for Easter, so that's what we've got. We're doing a floppy bunny today.
Zombie bunny.
It's not a zombie bunny.
Where is my zombie bunny?
I don't know. I think it's up there.
Oh, yeah, I see the corner of it.
Yeah, I think it's up there. We had to move stuff, so. So this is the one that we're painting today. It's the Happy Easter Bunny. I just think he's cute. And this one involves a few simple techniques just to create a little texture and a little interest. So we're going to have some fun with that. This one, I used a dimensional butterfly on there. So we have both available. We have one with a butterfly, and then we have one without. The butterfly line drawing is also included in the pattern. So if you don't want to glue one on, the one I'm going to paint today is not glued on. So we're going to show you you'll be able to do both. And then coming up next weekend, I think it's next weekend. Is Easter weekend next weekend? I think so. I don't know. Let me see. No, the 29th is Easter weekend.
So the weekend.
I'm brain dead.
The 29th of March is Good Friday?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. So we're going to be painting some snowmen. I think it's next weekend, or it's Easter weekend. Yes, Easter weekend. So we're going to be painting these little guys on Easter weekend. These are just fun. And these ones are done with some texture medium so that, you get a little bit of dimension and a little texture in them. And they're just a fun little paint. And we haven't done anything really, really simple in quite a while. We've done a few complex things. So I thought a little set of snowman ornaments would be fun. And then we're going to paint the country flower market sign with the bright Gerbera daisies. And then, of course, I don't know what's with me lately, but I'm 4 weeks ahead for a change. And we're going to be doing this one, which is the anemone. I just love this piece. And then done on the half circle, it's really pretty. Anemone. Anemones. Anemone. That's what that flower is called.
Oh, it's the flower.
Yeah, it's the flower. What did you think it was?
I was thinking like sea anemone.
Oh, no, not that type of anemone. Anemone. Anyway, so this is what we're going to paint. This one is called Kindness is as Honey. And then on the half circle, what I did was I put both of these in the same pattern because the techniques are the same regardless. So both of them are in the same pattern. So you do we will be painting this one because the big one is going to take a little too long. The techniques remain the same. And so both of these are in the same pattern. So I've been having way too much fun the last couple
You
weeks.
did it again?
What did I do again?
Country Flower Market is the 29th.
The 29th. Okay. Can't be the 29th. 29th is Good Friday. The 26th. 23rd. I can't even see that. I'm looking at my calendar. I have to look at the website. It's on the front page.
Live Easter Project.
Don't look
23rd.
at that. That's not right. That's why I said don't look at that, because it's not right. I had to rearrange it. Because I told you I'm brain dead.
So you switched the 16th and the 23rd?
Just a second and I'll tell you. So today we're doing the bunny, which is the 16th. And then on the 23rd, we're doing these.
The snow.
23rd. So next Saturday, we're doing the snowies.
Okay.
See, I confused myself. Takes some good. And then on the 30th, which is Easter weekend, we're doing the country flower market.
There we go.
And then April 6th, we're doing the anemones. The anemones.
That was a noise, Giz. Hey, buddy.
That's not often we get him in here. Hello. Who's on the... Cheryl, where are you off to now? Oh, she's in South Carolina. Hi, Diane Blay.
Why are you
Lori?
grumpy?
Gizmo's talkative for a change.
I'm kidding.
Tail flick.
He has definitely lost weight.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. He's only hovering around the 22, 23 pound range right now. He's dropped a couple ounces.
I'd put him at like 18, 19 pounds.
Oh, yeah? I
Yeah.
didn't think he'd lost that much.
Oh,
That's swinging.
he
good.
definitely doesn't have the swinging gut anymore.
Yeah. Well, having a new dog in the house and a kitten in the house, I think, has helped. Gizmo was a little chonky.
Just
A little bit. So he could stand to lose a few ounces.
Ounces?
Ounces.
Yeah,
Which
no.
piece, Linda, are you referring to? Oh, are you talking about the blue one? I think this is the one she's referring to. This one.
Show Gizmo?
So no, not without the risk of a hernia.
Yeah, he's a big
He's
kitten.
chunky.
He's a chunky cat.
Yeah, it takes two hands and some balance to lift him up. He's a big boy. The blue one is actually for an upcoming Zoom class with Chapter.
And we keep threatening to make him into mittens. He'd make great mittens.
Yes, he would.
He's got such soft fur.
I'm just looking here. Say hi to a few people. Anna Flurry. Hello. Donna Pultz. And her hubby. Hello. And Beverly. Noreen Sanderson. Hello. And Phyllis Griffey. Hello. And Vera Kangas Kaufman. Hello from Wisconsin. Well, hello from New Brunswick. And Sandy Barton. I've been thinking about you all week, Sandy. I'm very happy for you. And hi, Debbie Cole. It's nice to see you on here. And Patrick Panifus. My goodness, everybody's here today. I have a pile of painted pieces sitting back there that are for upcoming Zoom classes and workshops, etc. And then, of course, we're prepping for Chattanooga at the same time. So I have wood surfaces all over the place. They're stacked up, piled up all over the countertops in the studio. Yeah, I've got quite the mess going in here. So we have a ton. How's the weather in New Brunswick today?
Sunny and almost 10 degrees.
Yeah.
I just got back from taking
It looks
Maze
like a
from
very
walk.
early spring day.
Oh, it's gorgeous out there.
Yeah, finally. Apparently we're looking at another winter storm.
What?
Yeah,
When?
coming up this week. Just some
Oh,
icky wet
Gross.
stuff.
gross.
So, yeah, it's gross.
I don't want it.
And Julie Benoit. Hello, Julie. And Carolyn Newell. Hello, ladies. So before I get completely engrossed in doing this and my mind wanders yet again, which it seems to have done several times already today. So we do have some great giveaways today. Dynasty has generously given us 3 sets of Dynasty specialty brushes to give away. And there's also a set of professional drawing pencils from Tombow.
This is Gizmo.
Where's Gizmo? Hey, Giz. What's up, buddy? Yeah.
You big kitten.
He's a big kitten.
He doesn't mind being picked up. It's not for long.
Yeah.
There you go, buddy.
Yeah, he has, when you see him on camera, he has trimmed out a little bit. He's not as chonky as he was. When you see him all scrunched up like that, he doesn't look all that big, but he's 38 inches from the tip of his nose. He's a big boy.
He's a handsome boy.
He is handsome.
Is he Maine Coon? He's something.
He's he has webbed feet. He has very big paws. He's Yeah. No, he's not a Maine Coon, but we think there's probably a little in there somewhere.
And a rare Renee sighting.
And a rare Renee sighting. Yes, they are rare.
What am I, like Sasquatch?
Yeah, if you don't trim that beard.
I want to be able to braid it, but I
Yeah.
can't.
Oh,
It's too curly.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Sorry. Genetics.
Genetics.
Hi, Vicky. Nice to see you here. And Jane Crossley, hello. So we have great giveaways. Dynasty specialty brushes, 3 sets. Included in that is a set of professional drawing pencils from Tombow, which are beautiful. They're my favorite pencil. And we also have some stencils, courtesy of the Stencil Studio. And of course, we always throw some fun stuff in there as well. So 3 nice giveaways. Total value is somewhere around $30 a piece, which is a nice little gifty to get in the mail. I don't mind getting gifties like that. I did get a gifty this week. I got gold paint pens. I have been on the hunt for really good gold paint pens the last little while. So I have a couple of things to show you today, which we'll talk about. And in the meantime, we're going to paint a cute, happy Easter bunny on this postage stamp surface, which we got more back in stock, by the way. So we have those available with the butterfly and without. We also have lots of the tags. So go and check that out. We're using the honeycomb stencil for the Kindness is as Honey. Don't forget to check the supply list for that. And if you guys are ready to get started on Happy Easter Bunny, so am I. I love this little guy. I just think he's so super cute. And he's a very easy paint. What I love about this particular technique is that it's very loose. You can't really mess this up, to be perfectly honest. You can do and get away with quite a bit with this one. So I've done a little bit of prep on mine. I had to get some of the base coat done, or we'll be here till next Christmas. So to start, we're going to use a polka dot stencil. Now I use the 1/4 inch. I just like that it's not that busy. It's busy, but not too busy. So I like that. So I'm using the 1/4 inch polka dot, which is the M222. And we're going to use a stencil brush. And the color we're using is warm white. Now the base for this is Aqua Sky. And if you don't have it, you can always substitute with Bahama Blue. I went with the Aqua Sky. I wanted a little bit gray, so that's why I chose this one. But if you don't have it, then you can use Bahama Blue. So I'm picking up a little bit of warm white, and you're going to fill that in circular fashion, change directions frequently. Polka dots do not need to be perfect. They do not need to be opaque. So don't spend too much time fretting over whether or not they're absolutely perfect, because it doesn't matter. Easy peasy. Neatness doesn't count for this. So if the dots are not perfect, it's okay. If they're sort of opaque or not, it's okay. It's background. They're just to put a little bit of interest back there. Anything but a flat, plain surface. Good gravy. If you want to substitute it with something, you could put checks back there. You could put smaller polka dots. You could put bigger polka dots. Whatever blows your hair back. I just particularly like this 1/4 inch. I find it's busy enough. And it fills the space quite nicely.
Have you done anything with the new Americana colors yet?
We're using some of them today.
But I believe you did one last weekend.
Yeah, we used a little bit last weekend. We're going to use some today too.
Talking about baby ducks.
I love baby duck. Love that yellow. It's gorgeous. The other color I am really going to be obsessed with is the cherry merlot. Go figure.
Becky, I love how many times you say it doesn't have to be perfect.
And it doesn't.
It's kind of the motto for the channel.
Neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided at all cost.
Yeah. We actually have a sign that was it Deb that made that sign?
No, it's Sheila.
Sheila?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sheila Landry made us the sign, and it's exactly that. Perfection is to be avoided at all costs, except perfection is
Crooked. I
both
love
crooked and doesn't quite fit the surface.
it. Yeah. It's been made to fit.
Made to fit the surface.
I love it.
You can't mess this up. Wanna bet?
Well, a lot of the time we always think that things have to be perfect because the person that painted it originally, it appears perfect. I can promise you that anything that I paint is going to be far from perfect. There's going to be little wobbles and bobbles. There's going to be little things. I'm a firm believer that the creativity is in how you handle those imperfections.
That's what the t-shirt should say.
What's that?
It should say perfection should be avoided at all coats.
All coats. Oh, I like that. That's perfect.
That's what the t-shirt should say.
Yep. I'm thinking.
Because the A is right next to the S.
Uh-huh. Coast.
Ghost.
Yep, an old coast. So, super easy background to accomplish. Another thing that I frequently see, people worry about whether or not the shading color has to be exactly right. Well, a lot of the time, that depends entirely on what you're looking for. If you want it to have that, neat, tidy, crisp, clean, perfect look, then by all means, if that's what you're aiming for. Me, I don't aim for that. I'm more interested in how things look towards the end, as opposed to at being perfect at every single stage. So I have polka dots.
Pam Stover's got a good question.
Sure.
When you're painting with stencils, do you have problems with paint going under the stencil?
From time to time I do, but honestly, it's in how much paint you put in your brush and how much you take off. So have a piece of paper towel or shop towel handy so that when you pick up paint on your stencil brush, come over to your paper towel and just blot it a little so that you don't have a ton of wet paint, so that when you stencil, the brush is almost dry. That way it avoids getting paint underneath it.
If you're dyslexic, you could say cots.
Yep. So when I'm sanding this, I distress things a lot. I go vertically, top to bottom, and only in that one direction. I don't want to sand in 4 different directions. I go all in one direction. And I'm only sanding enough to wear through the paint a little, just to soften the look of those polka dots. I don't want them perfect. I want them just slightly faded. And then I'm going to take a cloth and I'll wipe off the dust. I'm going to grab my fugly brush and a little bit of water. And just water on top of it. This tells you what it's going to look like when you've got a coat of varnish on it. And then, okay, I'm happy with that. So I see all the little wear pattern that I wanted. I see the paint worn away on those dots in a few places. And that's what I wanted. So I'm going to dry this. Now at this point, you can distress the edges a bit more if you want to. It's entirely up to you. But we're going to add a little bit of age to this, and we're going to use a color that doesn't work with the aqua sky at all. They're not even in the same color family. Well, they are technically. They're both blues, but this blue is in a different temperature. This is one of those new colors. This is Stormy, and I'm in love with this color. It is such a cool blue. And I'm going to grab a big angled shader. Make sure this is good and dry. Now I'm using a 1-inch angled shader for this. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of that Stormy. And I'm going to blend it quite well on my brush. And I'm going to float my edges just a little with that Stormy. This color is a really hard one to nail down. It has a gray undertone, just slightly, almost like a Payne's gray. It's a little cooler, more blue, less purple. But I just want a little of it at the edges, and I want it soft. So we're not looking for, that beautiful, perfect float. We're looking for a thin value of that color just at the edge. Just to age the edges a little bit.
Is Stormy one of this year's colors?
Yes, it is. This is one of the brand new ones for 2024. It has a nice gray undertone, which really appeals, and it works very nicely over other blue tones. So it just gives us that, sort of a smoked edge. It's not a really strong shadow, but a little bit of a smoked edge. So I'm going to dry that, and then we're going to repeat that float with a little bit of asphaltum. And all I'm doing with this is just toning that blue a little. So it's going to really bring out that gray tone. And again, we're not talking about a really strong float. It's just a little bit to tone the edges. A little bit of color. And the reason I chose such a big brush to do this is because it has so much chisel edge, so that when I'm doing this, it fades out. If I did this with a smaller brush, it would have a tendency to leave a line, would not give us that smooth transition. And I need that. And there we go. So we've got a nice, just a soft shaded edge all the way around. Gives us that nice toned finish at the edge. So then, once you've done all of that, you're going to trace and transfer your pattern onto the surface. And this is where we get to play with some of those new colors. I have a few that really appeal to me in this color, in this new line. There are some that are just absolutely gorgeous. But they're quite transparent. So the bunny on here is base coated with this one. I love this color. This is baby duck. It has, I shouldn't say the bunny is base coated with baby duck. He's not base coated with baby duck. He's base coated with almondine. And if you don't have almondine, you can base coat with buttermilk. But this yellow is one of my favorites in this new line, and for a couple of reasons. We have lots of yellows in the Decor line, but that baby duck has a ton of white in it. And it has this, there's a really nice brightness to this color. So I traced my butterfly onto my little fella here, and I'm going to base coat the wings with baby duck. Such a pretty yellow. And against that almondine, it's quite bright, but it's surprisingly a very soothing yellow. It's not a highly saturated yellow, but it works beautifully. So I'm going to base coat my little butterfly with baby duck. And then I'm going to base coat this middle tulip with baby duck as well. Now I've put a coat of warm white down on my tulips so that I'm not fighting against that blue with a yellow. And when I apply my base color, I follow the shape of the petal. Long strokes, not little short strokes, but nice long strokes, and follow the shape of the petal. And this way, if there's any brush marks, any lines that remain in the paint, they become part of the finish so that you're not working against it. And make your life as simple as possible.
What size is the surface, and do you sell them, and how much?
Yes, we do sell them. They're an 8x8 postage stamp, and I would have to look to tell you, to be honest. I'm having one of those days where I couldn't remember my own name.
Oh, with the amount of products on your website,
I can't remember the pricing on everything, but I do believe, just a second, I'll tell you. The one with the butterfly is $8.50, and the one without is $8.
50 cents for a butterfly.
So, we have a yellow.
$9.
And then this one up here is going to be base coated with Wild Orchid, which is that pretty purple. Love that color. And again, I put down a coat of warm white as a base first, just so that we're not fighting against that blue.
Oh, there's a good question about the earth paints.
What's that?
The Deco earth paints.
Yes.
What's the point?
What is the point? The point behind the earth paints, there's a huge market for all things recycled green, and that essentially is a paint that falls into that category. They are making these paints from paint that otherwise would have ended up in a landfill.
Recycled.
Yeah, and it's essentially to help reduce the carbon footprint. Reduce how much damage we do to the planet.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
And the quality of them is extraordinary. I mean, I always sort of approach a new paint line with a healthy dose of skepticism, simply because, companies put out paint line after paint line after paint line. But every once in a while, a company will put one out, and I go, well, that's a nice surprise. And that one is a very nice surprise, because the quality of it is extraordinary.
Yeah, when they don't sacrifice quality.
Well, they're using a premium quality acrylic paint that would have ended up in landfill. They filtered it as much as possible to remove any pigmentation, etc., and then repigmented them and reused them for other purposes.
Yeah.
So I think it's a brilliant idea. But again, I had a healthy dose of skepticism when it comes to that, because, I need to see that it's going to do what we need it to do. And I've been very impressed. I now have a full set of them.
Are they in earthy colors or?
Actually, they have them in really nice, bold colors, which rather surprised me. I was anticipating them being kind of muddy and subdued, but they're really not. There's some nice, beautiful jewel tones in there. I have a full set of them. I've been playing with them, been using them for a variety of things. I'm finding I really like them for larger projects, like recycling and upcycling things. I really like them for that. So I've got bubblegum pink down here. Nice bright pink. I have a couple of spots I want to adjust. And we're going to use that same pink. I mean, you could use any pink you want to, quite honestly, but I'm going to use that same pink to paint that little heart-shaped nose. And the spaces under the ears, right in here. I like that coat of white. Just allows you to get a much better end result when you're putting down color, because you're not competing or working against all of that blue that's showing through. Especially with a bright pink, because it makes it look purple. Easy peasy. And bubblegum pink has been around for quite some time. Not particularly a color that I would use a lot of, simply because I'm not really a big pink fan. But if I'm going to use a pink, this one has got all of it. It's a very pink. And it's one of those tones that if you want to manipulate it a little bit, it's an easy one to work with. You can go in a variety of directions with it, because it has a slightly purple cast to it, just slightly. And then we have the little paws. And do the little toe beans with the same bubblegum pink.
Nope. Heard the puppy bark.
Miss Maze.
Sandy Barton received a sample of the colors carnation pink. And quite like it. Covers well and is pretty pink.
There's some really beautiful pinks in the Deckwart line. I've been on the hunt for gold paint pens in a variety of sizes. I have them in some sizes, but I've been looking for other sizes for a variety of applications. And I got a little bit giddy this week. My membership group has got a new project coming up for the month, and we're going to be doing some fun stuff with mixed media. And I was looking for a gold pen that would give me that metallic look, but with a pen, not a marker, not a, I wanted a pen, like a ballpoint pen, like a Uniball pen. And lo and behold, I found out Uniball makes a gold metallic pen. So I got some. So I was a little giddy because I use my Uniball, the black gel. I use the red ones for tracing and transferring. I use the white ones for doing a variety of things. And now I have a gold one, gold metallic. So I'm pretty excited about that. Of all the things to get excited about, So we have leaves and we have stems. I'm going to grab a rigger. And we have stems.
Barb says, I have a new rescue puppy.
Oh,
Libby.
what is Libby?
Libby for liberation from the animal shelter.
Oh, good name.
A black 9-month-old pit.
Oh, sweetie pie.
Sweetie. 9 months old. Already ready to cause havoc.
No.
I bet that butt wiggles. It's a happy puppy.
Is there anything better than butt wiggles? Maze has taken to...
Aggressive cuddles.
yes. That's the word I was looking for. Aggressive cuddles.
Yeah.
Yeah. You will love me now.
Are you going to be selling them, or where can we get them?
The gold paint pens? Yeah, I will have them. I just need to do a little bit of testing on them first, but yes, I will have them. But if you're looking for them right now, they're available on Amazon. I just like to, before I put it up on my website, I like to test it to make sure that it's going to do what I want it to do and what I need it to do. And I need to know where its faults are, I think is the word I'm looking for. I don't like to.
Oh, I know the answer to this.
Oh. Do you?
I'm trying to remember what I said last time.
What's the question?
Replacement for baby duck.
Oh, banana cream.
That's the one. That one.
It's not a perfect replacement, but it's very close.
Yeah. Banana cream. I was trying to remember the name of it.
Yeah, banana cream.
Something cream.
So, I'm almost done with the base coats on this. Now, I intentionally left the leaves blue so that I could show you something. Not having a coat of white down, you can see that the blue is peeking through that green. You can also see that there's polka dots peeking through that green. So if I were to take just a single coat of white, I want to show you the difference. That one coat of thinned white underneath it. It could be warm white, titanium white, doesn't matter. Just enough to interrupt the color. You don't need to make it fully opaque. Doesn't have to be perfect. but I want to show you what a difference it makes. So I've got one coat on here, kind of streaky, not perfect. Definitely not fully opaque because you can still see the blue through it.
What green were you using for the leaves?
This is lush green.
Lush.
So I've got a coat of warm white down. Again, not fully opaque. It's kind of streaky. You can still see the blue right through it. And this is a fairly dark color, but it's still going to be influenced by that blue underneath. But look what the difference when you put down a single coat of that warm white. So now we've got that earthy green. Just so you can see the difference between the two. It's the same green. So even though they're the same green, this one sort of takes on almost a plantation pine. Looks a little bit different, whereas this one retains that sort of earthy tone. And this is what I talk about when I'm saying that that color underneath influences the end result. If I were to put another coat of green on this one, it's going to look different again. It takes on a much different appearance. And it isn't influenced by the blue. So you can imagine some colors are going to be heavily influenced, like the yellows, the purples, the pinks are going to be heavily influenced by the color underneath. So if I come back in and I put another coat of that green on, it deepens, becomes a bit more opaque, but it's still influenced by that blue. It takes on a really different tone because the blue is still peeking through it. It influences it. So that's why I very often use a coat of warm white or gesso or something underneath, especially on darker backgrounds, because it can directly affect the color you put on. It's not always a bad thing, but it can be. And I'm just going to quickly brush on another coat. There we go. I like lush green, antique green. Those greens, those earthy tones appeal to me in a big way. So those are one of the reasons that, well, that is the reason that I gravitate to it so much. We are going to change the look of this green slightly. We're going to use one of the new colors to do that. I'm just going to quickly make sure I've got a decent base coat on here. There we go. Now we're doing pussy willows in this one. I have a single coat of warm white on the pussy willows right now. I am going to come back in and just give them a little more opacity. That's what these white teardrops are that are over here. We're going to use another new color to shade these, and that is Twilight. It's a unique color. We've never had one like it in the Decor Art lineup. I just think that it's a really interesting tone called Twilight. And it's interesting because it kind of looks blue, kind of looks purple, but it kind of walks that line between the two. So if I were to put this onto white, then I see more of the purple. But if I put it onto a blue, it takes on more of the blue tone. So it's a really unusual color. And it is very transparent. So even if I put it on my palette, it reads as a blue on top of that gray. But it picks up all the purple tones. And again, this one reminds me a great deal of Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray has a tendency to pick up on the tones of whatever color is around it. And I find the same thing with this one. It's an interesting color to work with. So we're going to start shading inside the ears. And the color I'm going to use is, it's one of my favorites. I love this tone. This is Wild Berry. Not a color that I had used much until just the last year or so. And now I find I use it all the time. It's just one of those colors. So I'm going to use a 1/2 inch angle. I'm going to grab my Jo Sonja. And we're going to use that lovely Wild Berry to shade our pinks. And I'm going to shade up very tight under the ears. And I need my mop brush. So in those deeper areas, we're going to float a little of that Wild Berry. It's a nice rich color. It's such a pretty tone. And I keep losing the chat here. So isn't that a pretty tone over top of that bubblegum pink? I like that Wild Berry. It's a little smoky, not fully transparent. Get a little glaze. It's not fully transparent, but it is a lovely, lovely, like a rose tone. So I'm going to float a little of that color in, soften it with my mop. Just a little. And I'm going to do the same thing in here. Twilight. Not twilt, twilight. And then all of those pinks, those pink areas under the ear, the nose, the feet, we're going to shade that with this Wild Berry as well. So for the nose, I want a nice wide float so that it covers roughly half of the nose. And I'm going to do the same thing to the heart on those cute little feet, all those little toe beans.
There was a doggo question.
There was a doggo question?
Yeah, I think I missed it though.
A Papa Dog question.
It's on Facebook. Tara L. Ellis.
Hi, Tara.
If your neighbor on both sides of you have well-behaved male dogs and our fence between us are shared, should I stay away from getting a male dog? I've always had females. I'm looking for a new friend for my female Jack Russell Shay. Who lost her sister at the end of last year. Just trying to figure out my options. I mean, the sex doesn't really matter. It's the demeanor that you got to look at.
Yeah.
But if you got well-behaved dogs on either side of you, it honestly doesn't matter. It depends on the demeanor of the new dog.
Oops.
Granted, a intact female dog, you run the risk of other things happening.
Yeah. Yes, other things could go wrong. Or right, you know.
Or not. Yeah, if you're into puppy rearing.
Yeah, whatever blows your hair back.
Yeah. I have no experience in puppy rearing.
Don't really want to.
I've never been in the same room as a birthing female dog.
Nope. I've only done that with cats, and I'd rather not do it again.
And at this moment, I have an intact female Belgian Mal who's already a handful, and I don't want to deal with mini hers.
No.
So, no.
No. Precisely.
She will be going in at the beginning of April for her spay.
Yep.
And hopefully that'll help some behavioral issues. Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. If not, then we keep working on them.
Her behavioral issues aren't unmanageable. Just she's a bit much. I just messed this up.
How bad?
Bad enough. I'm going to have to rebase code a section here because I put my float in the wrong place and then totally messed it up. So, I'm going to fix it.
Oh, this is an older dog, so she's been fixed a long time ago. I don't want puppies. I'm too old for that. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Totally fair.
So if it's already an adult female, it's going to take some time.
Yep.
There's going to be an adjustment period.
But not unmanageable.
Follow the rule of threes. 3 days to get used to the house, 3 days to get used to the new environment, and 3 days to get used to other dogs.
Yep.
Or 3 days to get used to the house, 3 weeks to get used to the new environment, and 3 months to get used to the new dogs around.
Yep. Fair. Okay, so I managed to fix my mess up. I, for whatever reason, just hooped one of the petals on my tulip. But it is just paint. So it's an easy fix. That's my attitude. It's just paint. So it's an easy fix. Ta-da! Of course, I need to get some paint in the brush. There we go. Good Lord.
You could also add 3 weeks for routine. Getting used to routine.
Yeah, getting into a routine. Helping her adapt to the existing routine. Because she already has the dog at home.
How come I'm not getting YouTube here?
I don't know.
I gotta refresh.
There we go. So we have a pink tulip. Now that I've managed to fix it without completely messing it up.
I was worried it was going to be a red tulip.
It was getting there. You know, some days I couldn't paint my way out of a wet paper bag.
Oh, what should we use if we don't have Twilight yet?
If you don't have Twilight, a little Payne's Gray will work. Yeah, little Payne's Gray. It worked. There's only one spot in this piece that we're using it. And quite honestly, I just used it because, well, I wanted to see what it would do. And I really rather like the result. But at the same time, I don't necessarily want to force you to buy a bottle of paint just for this one little shadow. So I'm using a little bit of that Twilight, and we're going to put a float at the base of each one of those little teardrops on the Pussy Willows. It's just a little U-shaped float right at the base. So you could, by all means, use a little Payne's Gray. But you could use whatever you have on hand. It just needs to be a purpley blue-gray. That's all.
Is this going to be a kit?
Yeah, more than likely.
And Patrick has got a DecoArt question.
Sure.
Have you heard DecoArt updating their color chart with the newly released colors?
They will be, but it does take some time.
No force required.
Yep. Okay, Cherry Merlot. Look at this color. When I first opened it, I was thinking it was going to be a deep red. That's what came to my mind. It's actually more of a purple. It's a deep reddish purple. And it is such a sexy color.
Sexy.
It's a sexy color. It is...
Is it like Crazy Plum?
No, it's more like aubergine. Not as dark. Richer. It's a pretty color. Really pretty. And that's what I used to shade purple tulip. And it is just... It's a sumptuous color. I was trying to think of a good word for it. It's sumptuous. It's rich. It's such an elegant tone. And it's dark, but it's not a dreary dark.
Dreary?
It's not really dreary.
Dreary, dreary.
And it plays very nicely with purple tones. And it is quite transparent.
Cherry Merlot is the color I'm looking forward to.
Well, I was so excited about it. Years ago, there was a color called Chocolate Cherry. Delta made it years ago. It was a rich, rich red. And they've never had another color like it in the years since. And I particularly loved that color. I'm always on the lookout for that sort of rich, reddish purple. This one is just gorgeous. It's super, super rich. And when you layer it, you start layering this color in, it just gets richer. Which is what I want. I want that nice rich tone. If you're Canadian, I will tell you right now, Stockade has them in stock. You can order them right now, if you were wondering.
Didn't Sandy name that color?
She may have, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. We did months worth of color research to come up with new colors between Beth, who's the new product developer, and Sandy and I.
Hello from Albany, New York.
Albany.
Albany.
So we have a yellow tulip. I'm a big fan of either Sunset Gold or Saffron Yellow, either one of those yellows. Sunset Gold is a little more golden. Saffron Yellow is a little more acid, has a higher, but either one will shade these yellow tulips beautifully.
What's this? What did what did Decor
What
discontinue?
colors have they discontinued?
Yeah.
Oh, that was posted quite some time ago.
Yeah.
And you can find a list of the discontinued colors on the Decor website. So I'm using Sunset Gold to shade that yellow. Look how pretty. Oh, such a great yellow. And that baby duck is just, it's yummy. I had to order some more because mine is like down to here. Mine's half empty already. I've used it so much in the last little while. Baby duck is just such a pretty color. I like my yellows, and I was looking forward to a nice soft yellow, but nothing. Most of them tend to get a little grayed out, and this one stayed nice and sunny, and I love it. So I used Sunset Gold to shade out that tulip. So we've got our first shading in. Everything's coming together quite nicely. I'm going to take a little of that Sunset Gold, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to shade the wings of our little butterfly. Like so. And a little bit on both wings. Just close to the body. It just gives these wings a little bit of oomph. There we are. So we have a little bit of that yellow in there. And then we're going to come over to these leaves. Now you can use black green, you can use plantation pine. I'm using plantation because that's my go-to green for shading greens. I just like this tone. So I'm going to put a nice little shadow down the center vein and out to the point. And I'll do the same thing to this one. Again, I'm just laying in that first shadow just to establish some direction. There we go. So I got a nice little highlight, or a nice little shadow with that. And to separate those leaves a little. There we go. And then we're going to use, I think that this is a really fun color, salted caramel. Like, it's just such a great name for this color. And look at the tone of it. It is not very opaque. I will tell you that now. And again, I'm down to about half. I'm going to go through this like water. This is such a great color. It has that nice golden tone. It is a very yellow brown. It has a gorgeous golden tone, so it works really nicely with yellows. It works really nice with any color that has a yellow undertone, but it also highlights browns and whatnot very nicely. And you can adjust the value of it very easily just by bringing in a little bit of warm white or even a softer yellow like the baby duck, which that's my preference. I like to use another yellow to change the value on that color. So we're going to go to a bigger angled shader. I'm going to use a 1/2 inch angle. And this is the color we're going to use to shade our bunny. And it's just such a great color. So there's that salted caramel. And a little bit of water or glaze. I'm going to thin it out a little. And we're going to start shading our bunny. It is a very nice, soft golden brown. And it works extremely well for shading this almondine. That almondine is a light beige tone. It's got a little bit of yellow in it, so this salted caramel works very well. And if the color is nicely thinned, you can actually work it quite easily. So we're going to shade underneath all of those leaves with just a little bit of that salted caramel. Now, in these little tight areas, you don't have to be overly meticulous with the floats. So this is our first one. So we've got a little bit, there's a little bit of wiggle room where this is concerned. And wiggle room is a good thing. And go around that foot. I like the mop for softening this. There we go. So I put a little shadow in there to separate that other arm. And then we're going to do a little bit of shading underneath the flowers to separate those feet. I like that softer tone in there underneath. That mop actually gives you a nice little texture on these feet as well. Nice little float. And you could do this as a bit of a wash too, if you really wanted to. If you find it's too much to float this in nicely, try doing it as a wash. Just lay a little color in. It's not going to hurt. So I'm just going to put a little more salted caramel in. I'm going to soften that a little bit. Super easy. Just not overthinking it, I think, is part of it. Now, I'm just laying a little of that color in at the bottom of that paw, that little arm, and then I'm just softening it a little with the mop. And I'm going to put a little bit of that color right here. Just to round out that shoulder. And then soften that again.
Can you please show us how you load your brush with glaze medium and how wet is the brush?
I can surely do that. Rinse my brush out.
That's why we have a palette cam.
So when I'm picking up a little bit of glaze, this is what I do. I just dip it right into the bottle, and then I draw it up the sides both ways. Flip the brush over to draw off the excess. So the brush should be wet, but it should not be drippy. So then I can pick up a little bit of paint. So it is quite wet, but it is not runny. And then I can go in and just float. And my mop brush is wet. I'm going to float around my little, get a little color in there. And underneath my little butterfly.
I actually have no decor. We'll put out a color chart for the new Good Earth colors.
Yep, they do have one. There is
Oh,
one.
they already have one?
Yep.
Oh, right on.
Yep.
That answers that question.
Yep. There is one. It is available on the website. There we go. So we're going to shade into the face a little bit. I've got a little more glaze in my brush this time around and a little more paint because I need a nice big float. And I'm going to start at the bottom of the chin on this side, and I'm going to pull a nice wide float up the side of the face and under the ear, and then come up to the top, like so. It needs to be a nice wide float. And then I'm going to also pull a float across the bridge of the nose, like so. There is a stitch line marked in the line drawing. But I prefer to just float it in. And then there's two little shadows around the eyes. Like so.
Did Renee just say our Maria? Nope. Don't think I did. Do you use the regular or fast dry glaze?
I use the fast dry glaze. It's my fave. So we have fairly basic little shadows in there. It's all we really need. And then once they're all dry, we're going to deepen them a little bit and then walk them out. Just a little. I want them to come out about a third of the way across the face. Just like that. So it gives us a nice little bridge to the nose. And then I'm going to switch to a smaller angle and then do some shading underneath our butterfly. Now all of these floats are going to get deepened with a float of asphaltum. And I want my little butterfly to be a little softer. So we've got all of those base shadings in. I'm going to dry this. And then we're going to use some asphaltum. And we're going to deepen all of those shadows.
Beth Green's wondering if you still sell your stencil brushes.
My signature ones, no, I don't, because the brush guys do. So you can, if you're looking for them, you get a better price through the brush guys. And then add on to that if you use the coupon code Tracy M, it gives you an additional discount. So, yeah.
Your texture brushes, right?
Yep, my
Yeah.
texture stencil brushes. So we've got all that shading in. Starting to really take shape. So we need some asphaltum. My favorite brown.
Did I yawn?
Yeah, you did.
Poop.
You've yawned several times,
Have I?
which is going to make me yawn.
Sorry.
It helps if you actually
The
open.
last 2 nights, that dog, jeez. First night she was coughing, and it's not kennel cough. It's just, I think she was cleaning herself, and she got some hair stuck in her throat, and she's just
Yep.
trying to hack it up. She was doing that the other night, and last night, it's like somebody gave her coffee. And that's when I
Don't
got
look at me.
aggressive cuddles.
Yep.
She didn't settle down till like 1:30 in the morning. I'm trying.
Okay, so
Can't find your stencil brushes on Brush Guys.
hang on a sec. I type in Dynasty stencil brushes in the search engine. And yeah,
They're there?
yep, right underneath the Dynasty Stencil Pro. So just type in Dynasty stencil brushes and you will have stencil brushes, Stencil Pro, and then mine are right after it.
Boom.
Yep. Let's make sure they have them in stock, which they do. And they're 40% off.
Hey.
Yep. And use your coupon code, Tracy M. It'll give you another discount on top of that.
On top of the 40% off.
Yep.
So you're practically stealing them.
Almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
You're paying for shipping.
So I've got a little bit of asphaltum and a lot of glaze. And I'm thinning out my asphaltum, and we're going to deepen all of these shadows up underneath, like so. So that little bit of asphaltum just deepens that oh so pretty golden tone.
Which brushes would you recommend to get?
In the stencil brushes,
Just which brushes?
I use the 3/8 and the 5/8 and the 1 inch the most. I have a 1/4 inch. It doesn't get a lot of use. Honestly, it doesn't, because I only use it for really small stencils. So. And I love my Stencil Pro. So I'm putting nice little float of asphaltum underneath all of that shading, or over top that all of that shading, I should say. I love this tone. I always have. A little bit of asphaltum. It separates things quite nicely without making things too dark. It gives you a little bit of contrast. Ooh. There we go. Just deepens shadows nicely. There we go. And then we're going to have a little bit of fun with one of my favorite things. We're going to use some drywall tape. I know, drywall tape. Yes, a little bit of drywall tape. Makes a great stencil. You can do some really cool things with it. So this is what I mean about using a 1/4 inch stencil brush for a really small area. We're going to use drywall tape. this is drywall tape. It is adhesive on one side. And you only need about 3 inches of it, 2 to 3 inches of drywall tape. So one little piece. I have 2 or 3 rolls of this because I have been known to use it quite frequently, and it's a lot of fun to work with. And you can do all kinds of fun things with it. So I'm going to dry all of this, make sure it's good and dry. And then we're going to use drywall tape to create a little texture and a little interest on our bunny. So I'm going to put my drywall tape on his hand here. And with the stencil brush, I am picking up a little bit of that salted caramel. Oops, a little strong.
Is the 1/2-inch Stencil Pro brush a good one?
It's my favorite one. I use it all the time. So I've just stenciled, literally. So it adds that little bit of texture to our little bunny. And I put a little bit on his fez, like so.
Fez?
His fez. And I haven't reloaded my brush. I'm just putting a little texture wherever I feel it could use some. There we go.
Make him a little grimy.
Well, it gives him a little bit of like a woven feel, I guess, is the word I was looking for. And I've never found a stencil small enough that worked well for this. So I, years ago, came across a little bit of drywall tape, and it works so well. Now, the fun part about working with something like this is that you can put it wherever you want it. So I'm going to get a clean stencil brush, and I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of warm white. Oops, it's not the one I wanted. There we go. So I still have my
Guard dog being guard dog.
Is she? So we have a little bit of pink in the ears. I'm going to use my drywall tape and a little bit of warm white. Again, you don't want to have a ton of paint on the brush, just a light dusting. And it adds a nice little texture to the inside of the ears, like so. A little bit in there. This is just a fun way to add a little bit of interest. So our our bunny is taking on a bit more personality. I'm going to a little bit on the heel. I just think this is fun. And you can do as much or as little as you like. I'm kind of partial to it, so I'm going to put a little more in. Just makes our little bunny that much more interesting. There we go. So, the things you can do with a piece of drywall tape. So much fun. Easy peasy. So our little guy is really starting to look more like a bunny. He's got lots of texture and whatnot going. So it's time to start adding a few little highlights to our bunny that's going to soften him up a little bit. And I'm going to use a little bit of warm white. And I'm going to put a little bit of that right across the bridge of the nose, like so. on the elbow here, on the arm. Those little bits of warm white. It's heavily thinned. We're not using it full strength. It just softens the edges, softens the bunny, gives him a little light. Go right over that texture, over that stencil. It's not going to hurt anything. I like that little bit of oomph. And that little bit of white just brightens things and warms things up a little. A little bit of glaze. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side of the face. That little bit just brings in that little highlight. Like so. Now, if you prefer to dry brush highlights, you could certainly do that. If you want to keep the bunny looking very, very soft and perhaps even a little bit fluffy, you could absolutely add your highlights with a dry brush. It would work just fine. And I really like this sort of softness, that little bit of warm white. It's quite thinned out, so it's not a harsh highlight. And then I'm going to switch to the smaller brush. And we're going to pick up a little bit of that warm white on, I'm working on a 3/8 angle. For this one. And I'm going to use a small amount of warm white and put a float just in from the edge on the left side of the eye. Like so. I like to leave that narrow little gap. It just helps give the eyeball a little more dimension. And I'm going to do the same thing to the nose, just in from the edge. Going to put a little highlight there. And the same thing to all of the toe beans. All of those little bits on the feet. In from the edge just slightly. It just gives them a little more shape, a little more dimension. Just like that. And they're soft. They're not a harsh highlight. Keep them really soft. And use the whole chisel edge of the brush when you're laying the color down. It'll give you a softer float. So I like to make sure that the little guy comes to life fairly quickly, so we need to give him some life. So I'm going to use my extra long detail liner. I'm going to put a dot of warm white right on the edge of that highlight. And then, oh, you found some more coffee?
I got coffee.
And there's just a small little stroke of warm white coming down from the dot, just to elongate that highlight a little bit. Now, I wanted the nose to sort of have a stitched appearance. And so I used my extra long detail liner to put some stitch lines down the nose like so.
Norma's wondering if using the glaze instead of water makes the piece a bit shiny where the float was.
If I don't shake it well enough, Yes, it will. But it doesn't really affect the end result because I usually spray everything with matte spray, so it all goes away anyway.
I'm going to try and zoom in a bit more here. There you go.
So I kind of wanted this to have an embroidered appearance. So I'm using just some fine lines to create that stitch marks. I'm going to do the same thing to the toe beans.
The toe beans.
I like that word.
The toe beans.
No judging.
I got a cat upstairs that's got more than enough.
Yes. Yeah, she kind of did get more than her fair share, didn't she?
Yeah, she's got like 2 extra paws.
Yeah. She has a total of 28 toes. Is it 28 or 29?
I think it's 28.
She's got a mess of toes. Little Airy is polydactyl, and she's got a pile of toes on each foot. Not just her front feet. She's got them on her hind feet, too. Toe beans. Lots of toe beans. And she's got extra claws that don't retract.
Oh, do you have like a Tracy's supply list?
I do. It's on my website. If just look on the under the more category in the top menu. It'll have a list of recommended brushes, tools, etc. So.
And do you have like a list for designing or?
What do you mean? Like tools and things that I use on a regular basis?
For designing.
Yeah, they're all on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mechanical pencils, my pens, all of that stuff. Everything. So, I've just about got all my stitches in. I like the little sort of satin stitch look. It's simple. It's a fun way to just add a little bit of interest.
On the actual website.
Yep.
Not the Facebook page, the website.
No, the website. Now, someone had asked me about how they could customize this to put a name on it. And I had to have a think about that. Mainly because I like the idea of it. I like the idea of being able to customize it, but how do you customize it without drastically changing the overall design and having to rethink how things are shaded and highlighted, etc. So, here is my thought. Because it's a bunny, I don't think you want to, and it is an Easter thing, so I don't think you want to, overly design it. So here was my thought. Now, this is rough, so bear with me. A simple little tag, like so, just drawn on and then painted in. And then just a loose string around the neck so that you could add a child's name to it or the year or the date, etc. I thought that idea would work nicely with this piece because it wouldn't be having to drastically change the design. So that was my thinking. So I would probably make this a little smaller. You could stamp the names on or you could paint them on, what have you. But I think a simple little tag would be an ideal way to add a name to this without having to dramatically change the overall design. I like the idea of a tag because tags fit with this. They fit with the overall theme. So I'm going to dry this real quick, make sure all of those little bitty bits are as they should be, and then we're going to talk about the pussy willows. Pussy willows is something I don't often see in a lot of design work. I really like the idea of pussy willows. I just think they're pretty. So each one of these little teardrops has a little, I hate to call it a leaf because I don't think it's a leaf, it's a sheath
A
of
husk.
some sort, a husk that sort of fits across the bottom of it. And I base coated mine with a little bit of that salted caramel.
You can find out what it's actually called.
Yeah.
We have the Google.
You have the Google?
Consult the Oracle.
Yes, consult the Oracle by all means.
What is it? Pussy willow?
Pussy willows. So just that little husk, I guess, sheath, what have you. And then I'm going to use my liner to stroke in a stem for this.
Or is it weeping willow?
No, it's pussy willow. And there are stems, so we need to put those in. Like so. A little bit of there we are. Pussy willows. Now I'm going to dry that. We're going to shade the base of those little things. I don't know what to call them. With a tiny little float of asphaltum. Because they do have to have a little bit of dimension.
Didn't know there was male and female.
Yes.
So which one are we looking at?
Female. So little float U-shaped at the base of each one of those little bits. Just like that. Makes them stand out a little bit. And then we're going to use a little bit of titanium white to make them poofy. So we need that extra long detail liner. That's not titanium white. Neither is that. There it is.
Well, the little silver hairs are known as catkin.
Yes, that much I knew. Consulting the Oracle. So we're going to use a little bit of thinned warm white, and we're just going to make very short, little fine strokes that come past the edge of that little poofy thing. Just to give it a slightly fluffy look.
Carpels.
Okay. It's a what?
Think of a cob of corn.
Okay.
And the arrangement of stamens or carpels. Think of each of them as an antler.
Okay. Oh, I suppose. Okay. I think we were looking for something simpler. Just a straight up name, but that's not.
No.
So.
We got any botanists in the crowd?
So I'm putting that very fine layer of fine little hairs, teeny tiny little strokes, right over that twilight, that darker purple that we did. We're not trying to bury it. We just want to make it look a little bit fluffy. There we go. So that they're softer looking. And I wanted to come out past the edge of it so that it wasn't too static. It gives it that softer look. There we go. How fun is that? So just so you can get a better idea. So they look a little on the fluffy side, and we're going to accentuate that at some point. So a little bit fluffy. How fun is that? So now it behooves us to start highlighting all of our tulips. And I'm doing that with a little bit of thinned warm white. It's not full strength. I very rarely use highlight colors full strength. Just find a lot of the time they're a little too strong, and they just make things a little bit garish. So we're using a little bit of warm white. Not to mention that warm white gives us nice contrast with our shading, so that we're not having to do a whole lot. What?
Found it.
Found it.
It's called bract.
Bract? B-R-A-C-T?
Yeah.
Bract.
Bract. Portion of the leaf that falls off once budding starts.
Ah, okay.
Bract.
That makes sense.
Thank you, Oracle.
Oh, great one. Mm-hmm. So that thinned warm white is very easy. Gives us a nice contrast on those highlighted sides.
Pussy willow pods.
Pussy willows.
Essentially, yeah.
Yep.
But once the catkin starts to emerge,
Yep.
they become bract.
Catkin. Interesting name. And there we are. Now, the tulips, like everything in this piece, and we're not looking for crisp, solid, meticulously painted, although you could, if that's your preference to paint, by all means, you do you. I like a looser style for this. I find it's a little softer. And so I have a tendency to use looser floats because we're going to be doing a lot of detailing using other methods. So I'm not really worried about absolutely perfect floats for this. But they do need to be where they need to be. And now leaves. We've got a shading in on our leaves.
Bunny leaves?
Bunny leaves. I need to fix one here. There we go.
I lost YouTube chat.
But our bunny is coming along. So we need one of the other new colors that came out this year is this one. This is New Leaf. This is a beautiful, almost a grass green. It's a beautiful tone. And then I squeezed some out onto my palette the first time and I went, oh, that is yummy. Just a yummy green. It's so transparent. Mm-hmm. The color was kind of deceptive. I thought that it was going to be a lot more opaque than it is. It is very transparent. However, it is a lovely springy green, and it is a very nice highlight color for our leaves.
Susan's got a question.
Shoot.
I have an old makeup case, leather.
Yep.
What do I do to clean it and get it ready for paint?
Leather is one of those surfaces it needs to be very clean. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to get paint to stick to it. So my recommendation is this. Dig out something that is a mild degreaser, like Dawn dish soap, which is a very good one. And give it a thorough cleaning. You want to remove any greases or oils from years of storage, people handling it, etc. Give it a thorough cleaning. And then you have to decide what type of paint you're going to use, and if it's going to be your regular Americana acrylics, which you certainly can use. You're going to need to prime it, which means using a good quality gesso or a good quality primer. Don't be afraid to go to household products to get that. You need at least 1 or 2 good coats of primer on it, and then paint it with your standard acrylics. If you want to work with something other than Americana acrylics or folk art acrylics or whatever brand you happen to have in your studio, then what I would recommend is looking at a good quality multi-surface paint. Or the other one is to look to a paint like Angelus. Angelus is actually made specifically for painting on leather. But the prep is what will make the difference. So look at this green. What a pretty green it is. But it is, however, pretty transparent. So it takes a little bit of work to get a really nice highlight out of it, but what a lush green. It's so nice. The other thing is I'm working over top of a fairly dark green compared to this one. So that has a lot to do with it, but it is a absolutely stunning green. If you're going to base coat with it, highly recommend that you put a coat of white underneath it or gesso, something underneath it. Even another green, because it is not quite opaque enough by itself. So, but a gorgeous, gorgeous green. So pretty and very leafy, very grass green. It has a really nice tone. So I'm going to dry this real quick, and then I'm going to deepen the shading on these leaves with a little plantation pine, just to make everything stand out the way it's supposed to, so that we've got nice shading everywhere. Look at that. Gorgeous green. And I'm going to use a little bit of warm white to dry brush a little highlight onto these leaves. I want them a little softer.
Why are the no colors so transparent?
Well, I mean, there's, out of the 275 colors in the Americana line, more than half of them are either semi-transparent, transparent, or semi-opaque. So it all depends on the color putting in a specific base. Look at that. So I've got that first shading in. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to deepen all of it quite quickly. And I just realized something. I forgot the butterfly. We forgot to texture our butterfly.
Aggressive texturing.
There's no flag on the play. Get over it. So I'm going to use the stencil brush, a little bit of warm white, just to put a little texture on the, I was going to say the leaves of our butterfly, the wings.
Just what you need. Another one, right?
Another bunny leaves, yeah. Oh, I need a smaller stencil brush. That one is too big.
Too big.
Yep. I'm being cautious because I don't want to make a mess of it. So I don't want to make a mess of... There we go. Look at you. Et voila. Little texture on the butterfly. Almost forgot about that. Well, I did technically forget about that.
But you remembered.
I did. It all happens sooner or later. So now that we've got this all in, I want to add a little dry brush to my leaves. I'm going to do it with, I've got a nice little dome here. Nice little dome stipler.
Got too many names on here.
What do you mean too many names?
Got too many names on this list.
So, little dry brush of warm white on these leaves just to soften them a little.
Have you named it yet?
Have I named what yet?
The bunny.
The bunny? I don't know. What do you think we should name him?
Ursel.
Who?
I don't know.
Ephraim.
Ephraim. No.
Why not Ephraim? Ephraim works.
I'm thinking of a Family Guy episode.
Oh, don't.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Anybody who's seen that episode knows exactly who Ephraim is.
No. Oof.
He is a rabbit.
So a little deepening. There we go. Okay. I'm happy now.
Esther?
Esther? Esther Bunny. Aww. Esther Bunny. That's so cute.
Oh, that hurt.
That's frickin' adorable.
Esther, the Easter Bunny.
Just Esther Bunny.
Deb Daniker got it. She knows who Ephraim is.
Yeah. Ephraim's on a list somewhere. So, before we start putting any little details in, I'm going to just deepen a few little things here and there, just with a little bit of asphaltum. Couple areas in here that I want to deepen a little bit. Maze is at the door to the studio.
It's the Esther Bunny.
Maze is at the door to the studio expressing her displeasure. So, just deepening a couple of things. A little bit of asphaltum. I love asphaltum for deepening color
Oh my.
and toning.
Oh my.
Oh, you?
Oh my.
What?
What are we doing for giveaways? We never talked about that today.
Yes, we did.
Did we?
We did. Dynasty specialty brushes, black gold. Pencils from Tombow. Stencils from the Stencil Studio. A bunch
Nothing.
of goodies from us. No? Got nothing?
No.
Whoosh.
Whoosh. Whoosh.
Yep.
So what's for dinner?
What's for dinner tonight?
Yeah.
We're having steak.
Steak. I like steak.
I know. I'm aware.
I like steak.
So, a couple of little spots on our tulip here that I need to deepen. Ooh, well,
I've been painting for several years, more in the last 5 years. I have never been able to call my painting room my studio.
why not?
I guess I need to have more confidence.
Yes. It is your studio. your creative space. And it's important to have a space dedicated to your creativity. It makes a big difference. And if you're always worrying about having to put everything away, because you got to feed everybody and take everything off the dining room table. Well, I did that for a long time. And then when I finally got a space that I could dedicate just to my art, it took me forever to get it to this point.
Now you have a whole basement.
Oh, I have an entire... I have a whole basement and no room for anything.
I need more room. I need more room. I need more room.
I need to get rid of some stuff.
You need a warehouse.
Shush. It's enough out of you.
And for some weird reason, you'll still end up just being tucked away in a corner.
Yeah, I know.
My studio is my happy place.
It is my happy place.
It's funny. I heard cursing coming from here not too long ago.
Doesn't make it any less my happy place. I have lots of fun in here.
If that includes cursing, sure.
Yeah, it does.
Cursing's just fun.
Yep. So I'm deepening a few little shadows around the outside of my little bunny. I'm just going back in with a little bit of that stormy. I love that color. A few little spots here that I want to make a little darker, like these little openings behind the bunny. So I'm just using a loose float, nothing too strenuous, just enough to deepen that background a little bit.
You need a she shed? Is that like a man cave? A she shed?
Yeah, kind of. Take that garden shed out there and turn it into... No.
Not
I
enough
prefer
room.
to be in the house. I like my studio. When we bought this house, it was because I had a space in it that I could use.
Do what I want. Cursing is absolutely necessary at times.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I mean, quite honestly, you know why we put those little tags on everything that says handmade with love? It's because, handmade with 6 trips to Michael's, 1 to Hobby Lobby, and 2 to the liquor store don't fit on that little label.
Made with love and 2 shots of bourbon.
Yep. Damn Skippy.
Is there a Canadian source for the postage stamp plaque?
Yes. Paintingwithdeb.com or me.
Or tracymurrow.net?
Yep. And Canadian customers, the website is posted in US dollars. So use the coupon code Canada and it will give you a discount to alleviate that exchange rate.
Yeah. A she warehouse?
Yeah, well.
I'd say get a storefront, but...
No. No. Then I'd have to have people.
No. Who said you had to be open?
That's true. Nobody said I had to be open to the public.
You just lock the doors. People can watch from outside and...
Go away.
It's Tracy Murrow live.
Yep.
What about your phone? You can hear me talk. Stay out of my space.
Well, the thing about creativity is that it doesn't, it becomes overwhelmed by other responsibilities a lot of the time.
Then I have to people. No.
If I could people with painter people, that would be different.
No one welcome.
No one welcome.
This property guarded
Yeah,
by dog.
An unwelcome sign.
An unwelcome sign.
That's what I need, an unwelcome sign.
Just a welcome mat that just says F off.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep. That's all it says.
No welcome, no nothing.
I saw one that said go away. Made me want to knock on the door and ask me where they got it.
Then you read the rug again.
Yeah. No, I can't do that. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of lettering. And my latest obsession is with these Posca pens. I am so in love with these Posca pens. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to put a little float of that Stormy to the right side of each letter, inside and outside, like so. And it's not a strong float, it's not a big float, it's just a little one. And all it's going to do is just elevate the lettering a little bit. I don't really want to make them too harsh. And then you can paint this with a liner brush. You can paint this with a rigger, just with a little bit of thinned warm white. Or you can do it like I'm going to do it with a Posca pen.
I have a sign over my entrance that says no one gets to see the wizard.
I love it. So I am absolutely obsessed with these pens. I have 3 sets now because it's gotten ridiculous. They come in this size. This is the pin type. It's a 0.07, so it has this nice fine point. And they're super simple to use. They have an agitator inside, so you can give them a good shake. And then they have a just like a fine tip marker point. And then all you have to do is just give it a little pump to get the paint flowing. And then you can simply do your lettering. Now, I have fallen in love with these pens for this type of lettering, this fine type.
Are you freehanding this?
Well, I have it on there.
Oh. Do they dry out?
If you leave the cap off, yes. But
Don't
stored with cap on,
What about the bunny's mouth?
we'll get there. But I think what appeals to me about these, that these are paint, acrylic paint. And so they behave the way we expect acrylic paint to behave.
Lucinda says, I'm here for once and I have nothing to say except I hope you all have a happy and healthy.
Everything.
Have a great day.
So I love these. The opacity is really nice. They work very smoothly. They work well over the acrylic paint, which is a big thing. A lot of the markers grab or they absorb too much. And these Posca pens are they're fantastic. I'm a little bit obsessed because now I have them in every size.
Agitator? Isn't that what Renee is called?
Yes.
Yes.
But he's a little too big to shove inside that pen, so.
Ta-da!
So we have lettering. So the next thing we're going to do is start adding some fun details, and I'm going to do that with my black gel pen.
Is the butterfly finished?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Nope. So I got my black gel pen. Anybody that knows me knows I use these things all the time. So we're going to start by putting some little stitch marks onto our face.
Posca pens can be found on Amazon, Michael's.
Yeah, Delta
Anywhere.
Arts,
Yeah,
Dick
anywhere.
Blick.
They're
I'm a
readily
fan.
available.
They're readily available. Michael's carries them right in their retail stores. I saw them yesterday.
My closed captioning says pasta pens.
Posca. Posca. So when I'm outlining things, I don't want to trace it perfectly.
Scribbles.
I use scribbly outlines. For a couple of reasons. A hard edge makes things look stiff and rigid, whereas a scribbly line gives things the impression that they're softer and a little fluffier, and that's what I was going for. That's what I wanted.
Decor should carry something like Posca pens,
They should.
but they don't. Wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, 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 wah.
So I like the scribbly line thing, and I'm going to use it everywhere. So it doesn't matter if the lines are perfect. It doesn't matter if they're perfectly on the surface that you're tracing. It can go onto the background. It's okay.
Is it though?
It is okay. It is very okay.
Just check it.
It is. And it just makes things so much more interesting.
I kind of want to say that name like Batman.
Like what name? Batman.
No. There's someone in here on Facebook named Patsy.
Patsy?
Justice.
Okay. Okay.
Forgot them.
You watch way too many movies.
Yes.
I am a big fan of this. I like this outline. I just don't like harsh outlines. And so I have a tendency to put scribbly outlines on things. It helps define things a little bit better, but at the same time, it adds a little bit of character to our bunny as well. Because he's not solid and hard-edged. And he also needs some stitch marks, so we're going to put stitch lines.
Can we wipe off the Posca pens if we make a mistake?
If you get them before they dry, yes.
Yeah, just remove the A out of Easter.
Esther.
Easter bunny.
Esther bunny.
Bunnies are soft, so they need soft outlines.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Agreed.
Extra fine point pen.
This one it's a 0.38. I use these all the time.
Uniball Signo.
Yep, it's a 0.38. Ultra fine.
You have 3 in stock.
And I have 60 ordered.
Yeah, some more coming.
Yes, I always have more coming. I love those. I got more red ones and more white ones coming too.
So you can get them on tracymoreau.net.
Yep.
Or amazon.ca or amazon.com.
Yep. And they are a Japanese ink. That's an ultra black ink. And in case you ask, I always spray everything with matte spray, regardless, just to avoid any potential issues, although I have never had an issue with this ink. But I also make bloody sure that I don't, so super easy.
I like squiggly lines because they're so much shorter. Easier than straight lines. I cannot talk today.
Well done, you.
My brain moves faster than my mouth. Sometimes it's the other way around. And I just hit my head off the microphone.
Or you put your foot in it.
Oh, I'm good at that one too.
Oh, yeah. That's hereditary.
Thump.
Open mouth, insert foot.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, like
As I said, that's hereditary.
talking about the board of directors. As if one of the board members was not in front of me whatsoever. I had my opinion, I voiced it, and then I realized
Oops.
the guy I'm talking to is a board member.
That shouldn't
Oopsie.
matter.
He didn't mind.
Nope.
No. Nothing I can do about the board anyway.
Yeah. So we're almost there. I am going to add a few little details to our pussy willows because I've done it to everything else except that butterfly so far. So I'm going to put a nice little sketchy line around each of those little, whatever you called them. And a little line on the stem. But then I'm going to go into my pussy willow and I'm going to add a few little tiny black lines to it just for some texture. Kind of acts like a shadow for all of those white lines so that we have a nice fluffy pussy willow.
One of my painting group members asked me if I could use another brand of gel pen. I told him that I had no idea. I use the Uniball Sigma that Tracy and Sandy use.
I like my gel pen.
What number was your Posca?
What number?
Yeah.
It is. Oh, you want the product number. It's the PC1MR. Is the item number, and it's a 0.7 millimeter.
Squizzy. Didn't mean to burp in the microphone.
Well done, you. So we have to finish off our little butterfly here. I'm going to use a little bit of warm whites, and I'm going to put a little highlight on the head. And a little stroke on the body. And then I'm going to outline the petals. Oh my God, the wings. Good Lord.
Bunny leaves!
Bunny leaves. If you're ever wondering what we're talking about when we say bunny leaves,
There's a video.
there's a video. I was painting a bunny and apparently couldn't remember ears. Kept calling them bunny leaves.
Yeah.
Oh,
The chat caught on.
yeah. So I'm adding a few little details to the wings, but then I like to go around the wings with just this loose, sketchy line like so. Neatness doesn't count. I would do the same thing to the raised if I'm using the, the separate wooden butterfly. I do the same thing. So nothing really changes. And then I'm going to give my butterfly some antenna. Now, if you find that your lettering isn't showing up as much as you would like, don't be afraid to put in a little bit of black in a few places just to make the lettering stand out a bit more if you find it's not bright enough for you. Just keep it minimal. Don't overdo it because I find then it looks really heavy. And you don't want it heavy.
Yay, now we can see the butterfly.
There we go. So, our next steps for this piece are to spatter it. Because I like spattering. And I'm going to spatter first with a little bit of asphaltum. Little thinned asphaltum. And you can be as heavy-handed with the spatter as you choose. It's entirely up to you. Some people like a little, some people like a lot. I kind of go the halfway between. So I'm going to rinse this out. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of warm white. And I like the warm white because it just keeps everything from getting a little too dark and dingy looking. And this is a spring piece. You want a little bit of brightness. So, little bit of thin, warm white. Look how fun that is.
It's the fugly brush.
It's my fugly brush.
The fugly brush. It's a 1/2 inch encaustic.
Yes, it's a
Oval?
1-inch encaustic oval.
1 inch encaustic oval. That's what she's using for the spatter. She could use a shotgun, but
Yeah, I'd rather not. So I'm going to grab one of my white gel pens. Of course, what is it? The white ones are just giving me the gears this week.
what, the pens?
Yeah, my white gel pens don't want to work for me today. I think they're just,
Is it the Uniball ones?
yeah. Just this one in particular. So there's my scribblature. And there we go. A happy Easter bunny.
Esther.
Esther. Easter.
The happy Easter bunny named Esther.
Esther. Oh, and before
Whoa.
we do this, I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things. I talked earlier about the gold Uniball pen. Before we go, gives me a chance to show you this. So this is the gold, metallic gold Uniball pen. I'm going to show you this. This one I'm very pleased with. Rolls really smooth and has a gorgeous metallic sheen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it really has a beautiful metallic sheen, which impressed me no end. So in my hunt, I found these. I was so excited, and I'm really pleased with the shimmer that you get, that nice punch of metallic.
Might be seeing those in future projects.
Oh, I would say so, yes, because I've got something in mind. And then while I was on the hunt, one of my favorite pen companies is Sakura. They make some of the best inks on the planet, some of the best paints on the planet. This is from Sakura. This is Pen Touch. This is a quick dry, permanent, opaque metallic gold pen. And it's not as fine as I wanted it to be, but I wanted to show you this because I'm impressed. This one has also a beautiful, smooth metallic, and the head moves very nicely. And it too has a really nice metallic sheen.
It's almost better than the other one.
This one is a little brassier.
Yeah.
This one is a little more lustrous, I think the term is.
Yeah.
This one's shinier. This one has a luster. It's like
Yeah.
a softer look to it. The difference being this one is not water-based. This one is an oil-based, so it has a little bit of a smell.
Ooh, could be fun.
Could be fun. But I'm not saying. I don't recommend it. Just saying. But I just wanted to point out that I was very impressed with this one. I also like that it is a finer point. And it has a softer point on it. Now, I use these ones quite frequently. The Deco Color. This one has the chisel tip. And this one has a really high metallic sheen. It's like a chrome. But again, it has a slightly different tone again. And then I use this one, which is from Let's Resin. just so you can see the difference. This one has a really high chrome finish to it. So I have the Let's Resin. These are available on Amazon. The Deco Color is available on Amazon, and it comes in a variety of sizes. They have the ultra fine, this fine one, and then it has the larger one like this. And my newest addition to this is these Pen Touch gold metallic pens. I'm very impressed with the point on this one. I love that it moves so smoothly, and it has very nice metallic. And then the Uniball Signo that I would use for mixed media and a variety of things, again, has a slightly different metallic look, but typical of Uniball, the pen writes like a bloody dream. So if you're looking for metallic pens, markers, etc., these are the ones that I can recommend. The Pen Touch, the Uniball Signo, the Let's Resin, and the Deco Color. Any one of those are going to give you great results.
You forgot the mouth.
Pardon me?
The mouth.
Oh! How did I forget the mouth? I forgot the mouth. I forgot the nose altogether. Wow. Okay. Little scribbly. Can't have that. That would be an incomplete bunny. There we go. Bunnykins.
There we go.
So this is the one that I like. I like this one in the Deco Color one for doing the edges of things, for ornaments and whatnot. So if that's what you're looking for, something for finishing ornaments, these ones with the big chisel tip are great. So,
All right.
awesome sauce.
I gotta switch cameras. Get the wheel up. Boop, boop, boop. Bam. Oh, that sounds like a cat running around.
Oh my goodness, that wheel is packed.
Yes, ma'am. Gotta stop banging my head against the microphone. I don't mean to. Right, I got a pen.
And yes, they will be listed in my favorites.
So what are they getting?
You forgot already? What are you, a goldfish?
No. You're supposed to go through the prizes today thing. Come on.
Oh, it's just the way you said it. Like, so what are they getting? This week we've got Dynasty specialty brushes in the black gold. So there's a nice 3-brush set there. We have a set of Tombow professional drawing pencils, my favorite pencils. So you have a set of those. Plus there's a stencil from the Stencil Studio and some other goodies that we always throw in every week. We have 3 of those to give away this week. So Renee has the wheel loaded up, and if you aren't aware of how you get your name on the wheel, it's pretty easy. All you got to do is hit all of the buttons, the likes, the follows, the subscribe buttons. Any one of those will do the trick. And then join us in the chat so that we can collect your names and add your name to the list. Now, if your name gets drawn, all you have to do is hop over to my website at tracymoreau.net, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and send us a message with your shipping information so that we can get your goodies out to you as quickly as possible. And we hang on to them for 2 weeks. If we don't get your shipping information or if we don't have access to it, then they go back into the bin and are used for future drawings.
Cheryl Buckland.
Awesome. Miss Cheryl. Cheryl's one of my members. Congratulations, Cheryl. So, Cheryl, I have your shipping information.
One. Here comes number 2.
Now I gotta go add some info to the.
Becky Stencil Deweese.
Awesome, Miss Becky. I'm going to go down to the chat on this this one and send a comment.
And
Gold pens.
last one is Doris Martin.
Awesome. All right, so our winners this week. Make sure that you pop over to the website, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner, and send us your shipping information so that we can get your goodies out to you as soon as possible. And thank you always for joining us every Saturday. We greatly appreciate it. We love spending time with you guys. And I get to paint more. So what could possibly be wrong with that? So don't forget to join us next Saturday. We're going to be playing in paint yet again. So check the website. On the front page, if you scroll down, you'll see everything that we've got coming up on Tracy Morrow Live. And then we do advertise all during the week on all of the Facebook pages and the groups. So you can join us every Saturday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook Live, or you can join us on my YouTube channel at Tracy Morrow Designs on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much, guys. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And I hope the weather is behaving for you. It is for us today, finally.
Yay.
Yay. Hope it stays that way.
For now.
For now. It's weather by Sybil around here. So everybody have a great week. We love you. Please stay safe. Mwah.
Pet your dog. Have a happy St. Patrick's Day. If you're going to drink, don't drive.
Okay.
Stay safe. That's tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day.
I'm aware.
Are you?
Yep.
Wear your green.
Wear your green.
Wear your green.
Having corned beef and cabbage tomorrow.
No. Pet your dog.
Have a great week, guys.
Of course, my microphone doesn't mute when I want it to.